Foul line jumper by John Evans, his first bucket, and it's 8-5. Mendham by 3. They have the basketball. That's the point guard Craig Eilbacher, who scored 7 points in the quarterfinal victory over Bailey Ellard. Mendham needed overtime to defeat the Bishops 56-54. West Morris advanced with a victory over Delbarton, that poorly coached Green Wave team, 65-52. That shot way off.
Bring that up.
Jack Regan with me today.
West Morris there just threw a little change up. They played Kurt Eilbacher in a little box and one, and that's not unusual for them. They like to mix their defenses. You'll not see them play much man-to-man, but they'll throw a variety of zones and combinations at you. Right there, they
Connolly missed the J, and Doug Stewart with the follow, and it's now 8-7. Mendham by a single point. They scored first on a three-pointer by Craig Eilbacher. 3 minutes, 5 seconds remaining in the first quarter. That's Kelly. Deep left corner, brings it out to Eilbacher, throws it to his brother Kurt. In low, that's the sophomore Hines. His lay-in attempt partially blocked, and then as he tried to recover, he committed a foul, our first foul of the ball game.
You know, Glenn, these teams both know each other so well. They play in the same conference. They play each other at least 2-3 times a year. And don't be surprised to see this game go down to the last possession. They just know each guy knows what the other one's going to do.
Here's the fadeaway jumper by Dan Creekmore. It's good. 4 points for Creekmore. And West Morris gets its first lead of the game, 9-8.
Creekmore, as we said earlier, is West Morris' best perimeter shooter, and if left alone, he can be very dangerous.
11 of 35 from behind the three-point arc this season. West Morris likes to chuck it up. They average about 9 threes a game, 9 three-point attempts, that is. Coughlin held scoreless thus far, badly missed that shot, but West Morris lost it out of bounds. Another inbound play for Mendham, and it's intercepted by the point guard John Evans, who will bring it up quickly, and he'll take the three. Short. And the rebound battle won by Kelly. Good position underneath. Mendham down by 1, 9-8. Kelly to Eilbacher. He had a notion from 3, instead penetrated a wild scoop shot, and the rebound lost out of bounds. However, Eilbacher was the last man to touch it, so West Morris will have it. Scholastic Sports Sunday, brought to you in part by Vennerini's Super Deli on 800 Main Street in Boonton. They don't just make sandwiches, they build them. And they have a new toll-free fax line now, 1-800-696-1642. West Morris in the baby blue and white, trying to increase their 1-point advantage. The leaping leaner by Creekmore off the mark, but the follow good by Mark Connolly, who now has 3 points.
And as we mentioned earlier, Glenn, that's what they do best. They bang the boards, they have good size, and they put up a lot of second and third shots. They're dangerous when they do that. They have to be checked out.
Deep right corner, that's Kelly. He finds Coughlin in the lane. Good head fake, now double team, triple team, and loses it out of bounds. However, Mendham regains possession. Last touch by Kevin Boone. Boone came up with a real big effort against your team in the quarterfinals. Talk about that a little bit later on. Coughlin to Eilbacher, looking to get it inside. The pass intended for Chris Hines, and a three-quarter denial, and Hines simply lost it out of bounds. Joe Antonacci handing the basketball to Kevin Boone. Antonacci joined by Ray Lally in this semifinal game. Semifinals of the Morris County Basketball Tournament. Glenn Crooks along with Jack Regan from County College of Morris on Scholastic Sports Sunday. And unintentional touch pass by Connolly, and went out of bounds. Turnover, West Morris. Doug Stewart, number 12, number 23, John Evans, number 24, Kevin Boone, number 21, Dan Creekmore, and number 15, Mark Connolly. The starting 5 still on the floor for West Morris. That was Kurt Eilbacher, his first bucket, and Mendham to within 1. They trail 11-10. And a foul in the backcourt by Craig Eilbacher, his first.
West Morris went to a little 1-3-1 half-court trap there, and Mendham moved the ball out of the corner quickly, got a nice perimeter jumper, three-pointer, and they'll look to do that. Like I said, they both coaches know each other, so Jimmy will have a counter for everything Harry does and vice versa.
Earlier this season, they met. They're both in the Hills division of the Iron Hills Conference, a conference dominated this year by Parsippany Hills. A steal by Mendham's Chris Hines, fast breaking the Minutemen. Stutter step move, and they'll bring it back out. Here's the shot, and hammered on the play, Kurt Eilbacher. The foul committed by Kevin Boone, his first. Second team foul on West Morris.
That conference this year was especially competitive, as it can be seen tonight. 3 of the 4 teams in the finals are out of that conference. So that's a good indication that that was probably the best conference in the county this year.
The lone outcast, Randolph from the Iron Division. Randolph just 3 years ago in the Hills Division of the conference. Here's Eilbacher at the line. He makes the first. He'll get one more. That's Kurt Eilbacher. He's number 23. Brother Craig, number 12. Both seniors and both integral members of this 1990-91 Mendham team. And the second shot missed. You hear the buzzer as Coughlin missed the follow. So a competitive first quarter of play. Equal, yes. West Morris 11 and Mendham 11. This is Scholastic Sports Sunday on SCA TV3. We'll be back with more right after this message. Stay tuned.
Doing your taxes, eh? Quite a stack of deductions you've got there. Did you know for $19.90 you can only deduct 10% of your consumer interest? Like interest on consumer loans and credit cards. Next year, the deduction will disappear completely. But some forms of interest will remain deductible, like interest on home equity loans.
A message from the New Jersey Society of CPAs.
Hi, we're back at County College of Morris, where Mendham and West Morris are tied at 11 after 1 quarter of play. Mendham, they're wearing their home unis, the second seeds against third-ranked West Morris. Mendham with the basketball. Coughlin held scoreless in the first quarter. He had 19 points against Bailey Ellard in the quarterfinal victory, and he's averaging 14 a game. So West Morris doing a fine job defensively, and there's a near steal as the first substitute of the game, Jim Elward, number 20, denied the basketball to Coughlin, who gets it cross court to Eilbacher for the 3. Rebound in the lane, John Evans. West Morris will now try to take the lead with Connolly. No, but a foul. Brian Marks, number 42, Mendham's first substitute, committing his first foul. That's the 4th team foul, I believe, against Mendham. We are obstructed from the scoreboard slightly. And we'll do the best we can. We're just underway second quarter. 7:17 left. Glenn Crooks, Jack Regan from CCM, semifinals of the Morris County Basketball Tournament, as Connolly misses the first.
West Morris has on occasion had trouble from the free throw line. In our first game with them, they shot 6 for 18 from the free throw line, and it enabled us to stay in the game. So look to that to be a factor here tonight also.
Connolly 1 of 2 in that sequence, Jack, and West Morris back in front for just the second time, 12-11. Short jumper, no. The follow, no. Coughlin battling with Elward. They call it a tie-up, and the possession arrow pointing in favor of West Morris. Justin Landre has also checked into the game for Mendham. So it's Landre, Marks, the Eilbachers, and Coughlin on the floor. Connolly one-on-one against Brian Marks, and turnover, West Morris.
The big guy tried to go with a little behind the back there, and needs a little bit more practice in the backyard for that move. He's a big player and bangs with boards, but I don't think Harry wants him doing that.
Elward is a defensive force, it looks like, in there, Jack. He is really active in upsetting the cutters for Mendham. They like to run out of that Princeton set. Jim Baglin likes to go to Practices conducted by Pete Carril, the Princeton coach, and a lot of what he does is taken from that Princeton program. Do you notice that when you watch them play?
It's funny, coaches have different philosophies. Princeton, as you said, they run a lot of hard cuts and beat you with backdoor cuts. Well, Mendham plays the same way. They don't necessarily set a lot of screens, but they cut hard to and they open up a lot of passing lanes with that quickness. And you can just see that similarity right here. They move the ball well and they cut hard.
Westmore's playing a straight man right now, sagging at times.
Somewhat unusual for Westmore. So I wasn't expecting to see that.
And beating his man on the baseline, Kurt Eilbacher, his second field goal. He has 4, and it's Westmore's back on top, 13-12. Nice skip pass. Connolly recovers and scores. The assist to John Evans. He only scores 5 points, but he averages 8 assists per game.
He probably, more than any other player, has been the key to them coming around this year. I think he's really improved as the season went on, and that was the one position they needed to shore up, was the point guard position. He's really done a nice job for them.
The 5'8" junior John Evans guarding Craig Eilbacher, and he lets Eilbacher cut through. Westmore is changing their defense again, this time down, and a foul on the play. Westmore's foul called against Jim Elward, his first. And going to the line to shoot 2, Justin Landre comes in at 2 points a game, one of the 4 regular substitutes in Jim Bagland's rotation. Landre marks Reisher and Ash.
Mendham does play 8-9 players. They go 8-9 players deep, and it will be interesting to see as the night goes on whether the fatigue factor for West Morris comes into play, since they play maybe 6-7 players, and Mendham can go as far as 9 or 10 deep. So the fatigue factor could come into play as the night goes on.
Open jumper, no. So Landre missed 2 free throws and then missed the 15-footer from the baseline. Here comes Evans on the break. He gets loose on the baseline, too hard with the J, but there's Connolly for the offensive rebound, stripped away by Landre. Slows it up. Loop pass in the corner to Eilbacher. Elward jumps out on him to defend. Eilbacher lets loose for 3, and he hits. Kurt Eilbacher with his first 3-pointer. He's got 7 now, 3 field goals. His brother Craig also with a trace.
That was some shot, Glenn. There was a player right up on him, and he was 3 feet behind the 3-point line. That was quite a shot.
Connolly with another offensive stick back, and we're tied at 16.
And that's what West Morris does best, the second and third shots.
It was 11-11 at the end of 1 quarter. It's now 16-16 with 4:20 left. Second quarter, steal caused by Connolly, taken away by Evans. There's Evans coming up close to guard him. Eilbacher. And down low, the turnaround good by Creekmore. 6 points for Dan Creekmore. Mark Connolly leads the Highlanders with 8, followed by Creekmore with 6. Kurt Eilbacher has 7. Chris Hines with 5 for Mendham. Hines right now on the bench. Nice move to his left. Eilbacher draws the foul. It'll either be against Brian Patterson, who was checked in for West Morris, or Connolly. They called it against Patterson. And that's always good news for the coach when your best player does not get called for the foul in that situation.
That was great dribble penetration there by Craig Eilbacher. If he gets inside like that, he can create a lot of scoring opportunities by dishing off, or he'll be at the free throw line shooting free throws.
Brian Marks down, Chris Hines back in. First free throw missed. And Kurt Eilbacher misses the second. Connolly alone underneath. West Morris 18, Mendham 16 with 3:39 left second quarter. Leaning in and taking that shot, Doug Stewart drew the foul. Corey Reisher commits the foul. a senior. Outstanding soccer player as well for Mendham, and one of those 4 men off the bench for Jim Baglin. First free throw good by Stewart. He now has 1 point this quarter and 3 for the game. And West Morris with their biggest lead, 3. Nice friendly roll. And it's West Morris 20, Mendham 16. Corey Reisher holding it high over his head to Hines, back to Reisher. West Morris denying well underneath. Reisher gets loose in the lane. Rebound to Hines, and he'll kick it back out. Mendham sets up. West Morris always has to be aware of that 3-point shot, don't they, Jack?
Yes, they do. That 3-pointer is really, I think it's been great for the high school game myself.
You like it?
I do. I think most coaches do. It's added a lot of excitement to the game for the fans and the coaches. That you don't feel like you're out of the game if you're down 10 points. You can come down the floor and on 2 or 3 possessions be right back in a ball game.
Chris Hines just rejected by Doug Stewart. Fade away. Just glances off the front of the rim. Rebound batted around, finally taken by Dan Creekmore. Right now, West Morris dominating. They've scored 6 straight points to take the 20-16 lead. The leap and lean are good.
Creekmore does that very well. He shoots off the dribble as well as anybody I've seen in Morris County this year. I had originally thought he was a perimeter shooter, but he certainly is not.
And he's got 8 points now, sharing team high honors with Mark Connolly. And it's West Morris by 6. They've scored the last 8. Baglin may be near timeout time, but maybe not, as the lay-in from Justin Landre, his first bucket of the game, and the Minutemen back to within 4. 2 minutes, 15 seconds left. Spinning move on the baseline. Air ball. Connolly with the follow. And the rebound to Coughlin. 2-on-1 mini break. The pull-up by Eilbacher. No. Followed by Hines. Blocked by Connolly. Let's see who gets it on the chase. And that was last touched by West Morris, it appeared. Creekmore diving for the ball. It certainly looked like it glanced off his hand. But Joe Ananacci said no, it'll be West Morris basketball. Jim Baglin looking to get some help from Ray Lally, and now the 2 officials will discuss it on the near sideline.
And we have 2 veteran officials here tonight, so their communication will be excellent.
Well, that's Harry Zing, West Morris coach, kind of laughing as Ray Lally has overruled Antonacci, and the proper call actually was made as Creekmore, without question, the last player to touch it. So Mendham gets it back, trailing by 4 with 1:45 left, second quarter. Scholastic Sports Sunday on SCA TV3. Glenn Crooks along with Jack Regan, Del Barton coach, for this Morris County semifinal between Mendham and West Morris Mendham. The sister schools going at it. Kelly back into the game, open left corner, kicks out to Kurt Eilbacher. Goes to brother Craig, who drives. And his scoop shot blocked by Connolly. Chase for the ball. And it'll go to West Morris. They're up by 4 with 1:20 left. Scholastic Sports Sunday brought to you in part by Robbins of Randolph at the A&P Center on Center Grove Road in Randolph. And they want to talk about their Wharton location as well on 29 Main Street. They're open for breakfast, too, at the Center Grove Road and 29 Main Street locations in Wharton. So Wharton, Randolph, anywhere you want to go for breakfast. Robbins of Randolph. And catering available, fresh baked muffins, place to be for breakfast in the morning. Action for West Morris. They're trying to increase their lead, and they do it on a 15-foot side jump by Kevin Boone. His first bucket. He comes off an 18-point game against you, Jack.
Yeah, Kevin.
That was unusual. He's only averaging about 8.
Kevin was one of those kids that we just had trouble matching up on. We had a bad injury to one of our big kids before that game, and we changed our matchups. And we just didn't pay close enough of attention to Kevin, and he hurt us big time in that game.
Disputed call as it appeared Mendham threw the ball away. What is West Morris doing to upset the Mendham rhythm, Jack?
Well, West Morris is playing a lot more man-to-man than we've seen him play, that I've seen him play all year. They're now playing a little matchup here, but the last few possessions they were playing a lot of man-to-man defense. And it is certainly uncharacteristic for them.
And perhaps a surprise to Mendham. They trail 24-18. 6 seconds left in the quarter. A fadeaway three-pointer, well off the mark with 2 seconds. Here's the launch from midcourt. It's short. And West Morris playing well in the first half, so the third-seeded Highlanders ahead of the second-ranked Minutemen of Mendham, 24-18. What do you think about the first half, Jack?
Well, Glenn, I think it's going pretty much as the way I expected it. West Morris has stumbled a few times this year against weaker teams, but they always have played well in big games, and they're doing that tonight. They're doing pretty much what we thought. They'd hit the boards, second shots, and Creekmore's has been a big factor. Mendham, on the other hand, I don't think there's any need to panic here. They're getting decent shots. There's no particular defense that's giving them great trouble. They just need a few shots to drop.
Harry Zing and West Morris. Zing looking for career win number 291, and West Morris looking for their third Morris County championship. This is the semifinals. They've got to win 2 to get there, but right now they're in the lead, 24-18. We'll continue with more on Scholastic Sports Sunday here on SCA TV3.
For me, the award for the best support in a teenager's life outside the home goes to the Job Corps. You between 16 and 21, don't know what role to play? Join the Job Corps. At Job Corps, it's not about facing an audition. It's about becoming the star in your own show. Get your act together, get your show on the road, join the Job Corps. Make a new life and a good living. Trust me.
Call 1-800-TRAIN-YOU.
Tonight, Dolores had a few drinks, did some crack, and ended up another tragic story. Only she doesn't know it yet. Drugs make you forget. And if you forget how risky sex can be, you could catch the AIDS virus and not know it for months, even years. AIDS, another way drugs can kill.
Okay, now before you add anything to the soil, you need to do an analysis. Nitrogen, nutrients, minerals. What about acidity?
Yeah, soil pH.
Right, so you don't add anything the soil doesn't need. Now here, Shep, why don't you take that? Sprayer calibration is the key to applying crop protection chemicals. Too much per acre and it can get into the water supply. This way you can be sure you're not harming the environment.
FFA, leadership for a growing planet.
People who deal in drugs ride in expensive cars. The same can be said about people who use drugs. If you or someone you know has a drug problem, call Habilitat before you get the ride of your life.
We're back at County College of Morris. There you see it, West Morris ahead of Mendham 24-18 in the first game of a high school twin bill here at CCM. This, the semifinals of the Morris County Boys Basketball Tournament, 22nd annual version, and an upset in the making here. Although Jack Regan, I don't know how much of an upset this would really be if West Morris beat Mendham. We realized they were tied in regulation in their at the end of regulation in their only game played this year, and then Mendham ended up winning it by 8 in overtime.
Yes, Glenn. I think that both teams, it's a toss-up between the number 2 and number 3 spot in the seeding. Mendham beat West Morris, so they get the number 2 spot. But I think that this is a toss-up game. Could go any way. Certainly, it's not a lead like this is not a big deal at halftime. Mendham needs to get some inside scoring. I think they only have about 5 points out of their post position.
All right, both teams taking the floor. Mendham will have it first, moving left to right as you view it in their home white with the red trim, and here we go. The Minutemen down 24-18, just underway, third quarter. Glenn Crooks and Jack Regan from CCM for the Morris County Basketball Tournament semifinals, and the gym is starting to fill up. Semifinals traditionally the largest crowd with 4 teams involved, and the folks from Parsippany Hills and Randolph filing in now as Mendham gets off to a good start as Kurt Eilbacher hits another field goal. He has 9 points and he leads Mendham in that department.
Eilbacher shoots the ball well. You cannot leave him alone.
The other leading scorers for Mendham in the first half as Evans missed that short jumper. Chris Hines, the sophomore center, had 5. Craig Eilbacher hit a 3-pointer for the first 3 points of the game, and that was it for him. And 2 points from Justin Landre. Down on the West Morris side, Mark Connolly and Dan Creekmore each with 8. 4 points for Doug Stewart, 2 apiece for Kevin Boone and John Evans.
And just like that, Mendham right back in the ball game. Two perimeter shots, and you have a ball game.
It's now 24-22 as Mendham comes out to score the first 2 buckets of the second half. Down low, Doug Stewart kicks outside. That's Connolly. Now he hands to the point guard, Evans. And the ball loose. Who touched it last? Ray Lally says it's Mendham basketball. So Mendham has scored the first 4 points of the second half, and they'll look to tie it up or move ahead, this time down the floor, with their quarterback Craig Eilbacher bringing it up.
It also looks like Mendham's picked up the defensive end of the floor. The kids are really up on the West Morris players, denying the pass inside, and forcing them a little bit further away from the basket than they'd like to be.
I would imagine it was rather loud in the Mendham locker room in between the second and third periods.
Not Coach Baglin.
Long pass ahead of the field, Connolly, and he gets the roll. First player in double figures, Mark Connolly. He's got 10. 6 minutes exactly remaining in the third quarter. West Morris 26, Mendham 22. Long jumper, and Eilbacher off the mark, but Kelly gets the offensive rebound. And Craig Eilbacher now throwing to brother Kurt. Lob pass. That was Hines down low. Got it back out to Coughlin, still looking for his first bucket, and he misses it. So a rough afternoon for Tyler Coughlin. Came into the game averaging 14 points per, and he's been shut out thus far.
Yes, Glenn. I think that even though that West Morris is a considerably bigger team, you still have to look to go inside and get some points out of your post position people. And right now, Mendham is struggling in that department.
Another bucket by the Highlanders. They're up 28-22. Mendham back the other way, trailing by 6 with 5 minutes to go in the third quarter. West Morris playing man-to-man again. Coughlin misses. Rebound to West Morris. So Mendham started out quickly, Jack, scoring the first 4, but West Morris has come back to score the next 4. 28-22, they lead it. 6-point advantage. And the fadeaway is good by John Evans, so he has 4. And Evans averaging 7.5 per game. And what was that call?
It's a violation on the inbounds. There was just some confusion, and the player put it in bounds.
And Coach Baglin wants
Kelly
to...
was a little confused along with Craig Eilbacher, and there was a violation call. That's a bad break.
Okay, timeout called by Coach Baglin. There you see the Mendham huddle, and obvious confusion as Mendham trails by 8, 30-22. There's Harry Zing, the West Morris coach. West Morris has won 2 county championships, one in 1977 and one in 1980. When they won it in 1980, he had a guy named Greg Clay there. There's a kid tonight in the gym for Parsippany Hills in the second game of this twin bill, Glenn Secunda, regarded as the best player in the county, maybe even the state now. And I asked Harry a little bit earlier this week to compare Secunda and Clay as the best players in county history.
In this county that I've seen, along with Greg, I think Glenn has to be a Division I prospect as opposed to Greg because of his size. I think Greg was hindered by the fact that he was only 6'2", and not being a true point guard, that takes him out of a Division I status. But I think Secunda, being 6'8", being able to hit the 22, 23-footer, I think that makes him a definite Division I prospect. And to answer your question, I think he probably is among the best, if not the best, I've seen. Although we did play against Chris Jett 4 years ago at the county college, and I happened to view him a little bit on television last night, and he's another great one. I think that's what makes basketball so much fun. That the kids, I mean, 10 years from now, they'll be looking back at who they played, and they played against Gent and Secunda, and we played against Bryan of Columbia, who played with Seton Hall, and these are great memories, just great memories.
Harry Zing, the West Morris basketball coach, he's been around over 20 years, 19 years as the head coach at West Morris, talking about a couple of great players. Of course, we know Secunda is headed for Syracuse in the fall.
I'll tell you, Glenn, I remember the show Greg Clay put on here when he was a senior in high school. I think he had about 38 points, and he was just phenomenal. He was truly a one-man show. It was one of the most spectacular basketball high school efforts that I've ever seen. And there's been some great ones in this gym, but that was the best.
And we'll see what Secunda can show us tonight against Randolph. That's in game 2 of this twin bill. Right now, West Morris dominating. They're up by 10, make it 9. As Chris Hines gets his first point of the second half. He now has 6. Back at the other end, Creekmore had made the bucket. Creekmore and Connolly have combined for 20 of the 32 points for West Morris, as Hines now cuts the Mendham deficit to 8. It's West Morris 32 and Mendham 24. Mendham with a lot of pressure, and that one went off the foot of Doug Stewart, so Mendham will get it back on the West Morris turnover.
Mendham showing some full court pressure there, and it paid off, and I think that's the way Jimmy Bagman would like to see this game start going. That's the way to get West Morris into that full court game and create some turnovers and open court baskets.
Well, he's got Tim Ash now at the point, number 15, in for Craig Eilbacher, getting a rest. That's Ash in the corner. Does not elect to take the shot over Evans. Up top, Coughlin now has it to Ash. Mendham, deliberate, looking for the good shot. Eilbacher in the corner to Coughlin, underneath the Hines, and he got near the hole, and he's dangerous there, and Connolly could do nothing but foul him. Joe Antonacci there with the call. Connolly committing his second personal foul. No one in foul difficulty right now. In fact, that first half, that might be the quickest first half in recent memory, Jack.
That sure seemed to fly by.
Barely any fouls called. No timeouts called in that first half by either coach. 3:10 remaining third quarter. West Morris by 8.
I think that was a very good possession for Mendham. Even though they didn't score a basket, they got fouled, but they went inside. They said, we're not going to just come down and be forced to shoot from the perimeter. We're still going to look to go inside, and I think that they have to continue to do that.
And their man is Chris Hines, sharing team high scoring honors with Kurt Eilbacher, both with 9 points now after he made both free throws there. 3-on-3 break. So Creekmore elects to pull it back out. The lob in to Stewart. That's Stewart with the turnaround. It was off the mark. Coughlin got the rebound. Here's Eilbacher on the wing. Pulls up for 3. Rebound West Morris. Kevin Boone clearing the boards, and he hands off to Evans, who quickly comes into the front court. Evans guarded by Craig Eilbacher. Back into the game for Ash. Offensive rebound by Stewart. Ball loose off the foot of Stewart. Mendham will have it. Mendham trails by 6. So a mini 4-point run by the Minutemen. Let's put him back into the game again, trailing 32-26 with 2:20 remaining. Coughlin gets the bucket, and he breaks the big slump. 32-28 now. Seesaw battle. Mendham trailed by 6 at halftime. They're now down by 4. Ball loose on the floor, and it squirts out, and making the save, the diving Eilbacher right into the hands of Evans. Let's see if West Mars can take advantage. Stewart looking to go across the lane with a bounce pass to Connolly, but he was defended well. And the forced shot there by Boone underneath. Now Mendham becomes the stalwart team on defense, Jack.
And Mendham's starting to create a little havoc with their defense. West Mars having a little trouble with that, but they'll get the ball back here.
The sophomore Hines may have sprained an ankle as he traveled with the basketball. Substitution now. Hines comes out and Mike Kelly in, so it's Kelly along with Corey Risher, Tyler Coughlin, and the Eilbachers, number 12 Craig and number 23 Kurt. That's the 5 on the floor for the Mendham Minutemen. It's West Mars with the basketball, and that's Creekmore. That shot over the far side of the rim, but there for the rebound, West Mars, and Connolly hits the foul line jumper. It was Stewart on the rebound, and Connolly gets the deuce.
That was a nice rebound by Stewart. He kicked it back out to his big guy at the foul line. Hit a nice jump shot.
Connolly leads all scorers. This is unofficial with 12. Here's Coughlin trying to make it 2 for 2. Well off the mark. And the rebound to Stewart. Stewart at 6'4" with Connolly 6'7". At times, West Mars has dominated the board since they do have the superior height advantage. In low, Connolly, turnaround, knocked away by Coughlin. Harry Zing looking for the foul. Connolly doubled down to the low post. Mendham comes back trailing by 4. Check that, trailing by 6, 34-28. Kurt Eilbacher finds a seam in the lane to Coughlin. Back to Eilbacher from 3. Way off, air ball. And the ball out of bounds to West Mars. And you hear the chant of air ball coming from the West Mars contingent.
Glenn, you mentioned earlier about the three-point shot. I think most coaches like them, but they like them more when they go in.
Well, what would you say you would like if you take a three-point shot percentage-wise? They won't count the bucket as Connolly traveled. 30, 31. West Mars takes a lot of them, and they average about 31%. Would that be acceptable?
That's probably okay.
Ferrara throws him up at Del Barton, right?
Yeah, and he pretty much has a green light to do it because we know he can get the hot hand and run off 3 or 4 in a row.
And that'll do it. Third quarter of play. Quite a game and an even third quarter of play. West Mars led by 6 at the half. They now lead by 6 at the end of 3 quarters. It's West Mars 34 and Mendham 28 in the semifinals of the Morris County Boys Basketball Tournament. This is game 1 of our broadcast on Scholastic Sports Sunday. Parsippany Hills against Randolph coming up. We'll be back with more, the fourth quarter of play, in just one moment.
Doing your taxes, eh? Quite a stack of deductions you've got there. Did you know for $19.90 you can only deduct 10% of your consumer interest? Like interest on consumer loans.
Key management types carry SkyTel's nationwide pagers with voicemail. They keep
but he has been held scoreless thus far and only had 1 point in the quarterfinal victory over Del Barton. The big game from Kevin Boone in that victory over the Green Wave. As Elward makes the free throw, he'll have 1 more. And West Mars up by 7.
It's a nice luxury to have a 6'5" kid to bring off the bench, though, Glenn. And he's a nice player. He'd be a starter on a lot of teams.
And he makes the second. West Mars by 8. Eilbacher to Eilbacher. That's Kurt with the basketball. Got the feed from his brother Craig. Coughlin comes up top. The little point guard, John Evans, guards him there. This is Craig Eilbacher to Coughlin. Off the move. Good. They need Tyler Coughlin's offense this quarter. He's got 4 points now.
We can look them for Mendham. They're just trying to pick up the tempo here. They went with a little full court pressure there.
And a tie-up.
And they got a turnover.
And they'll get the ball. Possession arrow pointing in favor of the Minutemen. They trail by 6 with 7:16 remaining here in the fourth quarter of play. Scholastic Sports Sunday brought to you in part by the Hub Office Center on Main Street in Denville. IBM typewriter repairs, computer repair. And also now featuring Detecto UPS Manifest Systems. It's for people that ship UPS, and it's a great system. A three-point shot connected by Mendham, and they're down by 3 now. 36-33. Hub Office Center, call them at 627-6458. With 6:45 left, it's West Morris 36 and Mendham 33. Foul on the play. It'll go against Kurt Eilbacher, the man who just hit the three-point shot. Eilbacher's second three-pointer of the game. And he leads Mendham again unofficially with 12 points. A couple of substitutes now coming in for West Morris. Doug Stewart back in the game along with Kevin Boone, and taking his seat, Brian Patterson and Jim Elward. So the original starting 5 out there now for West Morris: Connolly, Creekmore, Boone, Evans, and Stewart. And that's Creekmore from the corner, and Kelly with a Mendham rebound. The Minutemen pushing. Eilbacher to Eilbacher. Coughlin in the corner.
Mendham got themselves right back in this game, Glenn. A couple good defensive series and a three-pointer.
And they're down by 3. Exactly 6 minutes left. Creekmore looking. Check that. That's Kevin Boone. Now Evans with the ball. Eilbacher on Evans. Skip pass. West Morris slowing it down now, Jack.
They're being patient, which is a good thing to do at this point.
Is that a trademark of Zing?
Well,
or
I think they're just
a good idea to do it.
Yeah, they wanted to look for an inside shot there.
Well, the shot no good, and back at the other end, Eilbacher, Kurt Eilbacher now with 14, and it's 36-35. We're in the fourth quarter, and Mendham looking to come from behind in this quarter to win it. From behind, the steal by Eilbacher. Kurt made the steal. Craig is bringing it up.
Here's the pressure again. Little come from behind flick, and they get the ball back. Mendham just has hit 3 nice shots in a row here, Clay.
And they take the lead 37-36. Craig Eilbacher with that last bucket from the side. And Mendham by 1. Seesaw game, Jack, and certainly a good one for the crowd, and good one for our television viewers on Scholastic Sports Sunday.
Yes, Glenn, the gym is starting to fill up here, and pretty much as we would hoped it would be, a real close ball game here going into the last few minutes of the fourth quarter.
Exactly, 4:59 left. So some key buckets. I believe that was Eilbacher who made that last one. I'll admit I was looking away from the play, and everyone at home that saw it and knows who made it. We'll give it to Eilbacher and get corrected later on if it was Coughlin. They were both standing in the area after I saw it released. Regardless, that bucket put Mendham over the top. Kurt Eilbacher and then Craig making back-to-back hoops for 5 points, and Wes Morris with a pressure bucket. The running right-hander in the lane by Dan Creekmore. He now has 12, and Wes Morris back on top by 1. So a good timeout for Harry Zing.
You can see Harry went to the things that he likes to do best. He got the ball in his best player's, offensive player's hands, and he scored, and he went to a 13 defense.
For 3, back at the other end, Kurt Eilbacher. His third three-pointer, 17 points for Kurt. Kelly with the foul. Still not over the limit. Wes Morris will inbound. Baglin, you see, in the background. Ray Lowley in the foreground. Jim looking for an exploitation. Check that. That one bucket that was in question before the timeout was scored by Tyler Coughlin and not Craig Eilbacher. So Coughlin gets credit for the hoop before the Wes Morris timeout. Wes Morris has it, trailing 40-38 as Kurt Eilbacher just hit a three-pointer. Connolly pushed by Hines as he looked to gain position down low. It looks like both squads. Well, at one point, Mendham was definitely forcing it in low, Jack, and now they look to be settling for the three-pointer, but I guess they're going with whatever they can get, and well, perhaps they've got Wes Morris sagging a little bit, and that's why they got the threes.
I think that's exactly the case. They hit open jumpers. They weren't highly contested shots. They had loose guys, and they just hit the open shot.
Connolly makes the first. He's got another. Looking to tie it up with his free throw. Mark Connolly scored 16 points in the quarterfinal win over Jack Regan's Del Barton squad. Wes Morris winning that one 65-52. Second is missed, but Doug Stewart, you saw him slap it away. Back to Connolly. Stewart now has it, looking for a pick from Connolly. Now goes in low to Mark. Ball batted away. Stewart picks it up, and the awkward shot in the lane. Fortunate for Stewart that he was fouled on the play, and it'll be another two-shotter coming up. Doug Stewart. We have him for 4 points. 6'4" senior.
Doug's a strong, hard-nosed player. He likes it both inside, and he can play on the perimeter, but he's a tough kid. I think he's probably their best overall defender.
And strong on the backboards. Yes. That shot tied it up right there. 40-40. 3 minutes, 53 seconds left. Wes Morris now by 1. Here comes Mendham with Craig Eilbacher. Number 12. To Coughlin. 0-0. In the corner. Long jumper by Kurt. Offensive rebound. Kelly. He's fouled. It doesn't go down, but he'll get 2 freebies. And Tanachi with the call. And
that's somewhat unusual for Wes Morris to give up a offensive rebound that easily. They just got caught a little bit out of position there.
And Mike Kelly, no giant in there, but scrappy. He was looking to tie it up with that. He'll have another chance to tie it. Coughlin down, and Corey Reischer checking in. Coughlin takes a seat next to Coach Jim Baglin with 3:39 left. Interesting move, taking your leading scorer out at this point.
I think it may be the fatigue factor there. He may just want to go to a little bit more full court pressure, give that kid a little breather for a couple possessions here, and then get him back in the game.
All tied up as Kelly made the second. 41-41. Evans at the elbow. Fires? No. And he'll get the loose ball. Lobs out of bounds. A little bit too much pace on that pass from Evans to Connolly. And Wes Morris turnover. And now Coughlin back in. Good call, Jack.
Yeah, he just wanted a little breather there. Get him a drink of water. Press on one possession and get your player back in.
Well, it worked. Got the turnover. 41-41. 3:15 left. Kurt Eilbacher with some big shots in this quarter. He leads Mendham unofficially with 17 points. Coughlin double teamed in the corner. He splits the double. If they swing it quick enough, Eilbacher will be open. There he is. Got it! Just inside the arc, a two-pointer. And it's Mendham 43, Wes Morris 41. 19 for Kurt Eilbacher, averaging 14 per coming in. On the move, Creekmore. Ball loose, and Coughlin cannot save it. Takes a dive into the crowd. And he meets the Mendham contingent over there. But the enemy was nice and They caught him on the way in. 2:41 left. Timeout on the floor with Mendham ahead of West Morris, 43-41. Jim Baglin, 12 years the head coach at Mendham. Morris County basketball. Had a little chat with Jim about that recently, and he thinks Morris County hoops gets a bad rap.
It lends itself, when you look at my kids, most of my kids, every one of my kids plays another sport. You know, where you get a lot of the teams in Union and Essex, their kids are going to be just basketball players. If you look at the quality of baseball, soccer, football, field hockey, all of those sports, wrestling, the Morris County schools, like if you're good in Morris County, you are a legitimate contender to be a state champion. In basketball, it's not necessarily true. And I think in part because the kids take up the game too late.
Jim Baglin, the Mendham coach, do you agree with him, Jack?
Wholeheartedly. Basketball, good basketball is still an inner city sport for the most part. And while I think it's improving.
Big play there as Connolly got it in low, spun to the hole. Great inside move by Connolly, made the hoop and drew the foul. And West Morris can go ahead if Connolly can sink the free throw.
Well, back to what we were saying, Glenn. Yeah, I think that overall Morris County in all sports is probably a big notch above the rest. However, in basketball, it's more of an inner city sport. Kids play it year-round from the time they're 5 years old, and our kids around here play a variety of sports.
All right. Connolly makes it, Jack, and that's 16 unofficially for Mark. And West Morris back on top, 44-43. Excellent basketball down the stretch. 2:30 left, fourth quarter of this semifinal game. Morris County Tournament. Glenn Crooks along with Jack Regan.
West Morris has just gone to a boxing one on Kurt Eilbacher. Kevin Boone is playing him all over the court.
And Kurt got loose nonetheless. His shot missed. And a rebound to West Morris. Boone chasing it down in the corner. That's Evans bringing it up. Checking out the Minutemen defense. That's Creekmore. Getting the pick from Evans, who hit the deck. Evans gets it back near the midcourt circle. Whips it past to Creekmore. Way off with that shot, but the follow good. Doug Stewart all alone on the backside. Big mistake by Mendham off the boards. No one checking out Stewart. And now it's West Morris by 3 in just a minute 35 remaining. That's Coughlin with the ball cross court to Kelly. Will not take the 3. That's not a shot in his range. Coughlin in the paint. Ooh, committed to foul. Did Dan Creekmore. That could have been costly had Coughlin made the hoop. But it was off the mark, so Coughlin gets 2.
Again, on that possession, Glenn, West Morris was in the box and won, and they definitely are trying to keep the ball out of the hands of Kurt Eilbacher, and it's I think it's pretty good defensive strategy right now. You're forcing somebody else to make the big shot.
Eilbacher has had the hot hand, 19 points to lead all scorers. This is Coughlin. He's 8 points below his normal game average at this point. Well, make it 7 now. 7 points on the night, 14 his average this year, and Coughlin with 19 points in the quarterfinal victory over Bailey Ellard. Thriller, a 56-54 overtime win. In fact, it was Coughlin who hit the shot at the buzzer in overtime to win it for Mendham, but he missed that second free throw. 46-44, Mendham down by 2. West Morris has it, a minute 10 left. That's Connolly in the corner. Looking for his point guard. Good denial by Eilbacher, and the defense by Eilbacher almost forced the turnover, but West Morris recovered. Number 12, Craig Eilbacher, would not allow Connolly to get the ball back to his point guard, Evans. And that's where the turnover almost occurred. 50 seconds left in the game. The next Mendham foul. And West Morris over the limit. Double dribble, turnover. The pressure defense by Mendham, supported with a turnover. And Mendham will get it back. 45 seconds left and a chance to tie it. Or the way Eilbacher has shot it from three-point land, go ahead. They trail 46-44. And as soon as they cross the midcourt line, Jim Baglin calls for time. 42 seconds left. All right, Jack, let's set it up for Mendham offensively against the West Morris defense. Are we going to see the box and one once again?
Well, it looked like that possession that they just, where they called the timeout, that they were not in the box and one. But don't be surprised to see it when they come out here. I'm sure if they do, Jim's got some kind of play set up where he can set a screen or a staggered screen for Eilbacher. But this could be dangerous playing box and one against them because they do have other people that can hurt you. It'll be interesting to see what Harry does on his defensive, this defensive matchup.
And we'll take a brief break and then be back in just a moment.
I knew who I was. I knew who I wasn't, thanks to my father. He was a builder. And when I needed someone to talk to, he wanted it to be him. His values, not someone else's. Years later, he gave me an old nail to remind me of the fruits of work and how it wasn't just houses he was building. The closer you are to your children, the further they'll be from drugs. From the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
We're back. We missed the biggest bucket of the game, unfortunately. Tyler Coughlin tying it up after the timeout. Coughlin with a jump shot from the right elbow and scoring his 8th and 9th points of the game. Then back at the other end, Dan Creekmore driving the baseline was fouled. I believe the foul was called against Coughlin, and so it'll be Creekmore will make or be taking 2 free throws with a chance perhaps to win it for West Morris. Now I understand now we do have the we're checking into it now. We may have that Tyler Coughlin bucket. We're going to look at it here. Let's check it out, Jack. It's 46-46, as you see, all tied up. And there's Coughlin hitting the shot right from the right elbow there. And that was the one that tied it up.
West Morris was in a triangle and 2. They played man-to-man on both Eilbachers, and consequently, Coughlin was left loose at the elbow and buried the jumper.
46-46, 14 seconds left. West Morris with a couple of freebies. Dan Creekmore at the line after this timeout. All right, both teams break the huddle. Well, this is certainly crunch time, Jack. Wow. This is when you really find out who can handle the pressure. Creekmore with 2 of the biggest free throws perhaps in his career right here. The senior, 6'1". There you see it, number 21. He averages just under 14 points a game, and he's got 12 as he steps up to the line. Makes the first.
Well, Glenn, just as we said at the top of the show, could come down to the last possession. Looks like it may go just that way.
Mendham will have 14 seconds to bring it up. They perhaps will call another timeout if they have one left. And Creekmore now with 14 points and West Morris by 2. Let's see how Mendham sets it up. Eilbacher to his brother Kurt. Shot from the baseline. Too hard. Rebound batted around, taken by Connolly with 2 seconds left. 1. There's the buzzer. And West Morris advances to the finals of the Morris County Tournament. They're looking for their first championship since 1980. They also won the tournament title in 1977. There they are, the happy Highlanders of West Morris, as Mendham dejectedly gets set to go back to the locker room. And what a game, though. Back and forth, and West Morris winning it by a deuce. There's a happy Harry Zing. 19 years the coach here at West Morris, and now he's in the finals. And who will they meet? Either Parsippany Hills or Randolph. And stay tuned, we'll have that game coming up for you next.
Glenn, victories are sweet. I don't care how long you've been coaching. Harry felt real good about that when he was pointing in that game, and I'm sure he's very pleased with his team's performance, and as well he should be. They played a nice ball game.
Well, big shots all over the place. Kurt Eilbacher with a huge three-pointer earlier in the quarter, as Mendham trailed by 10 points at one juncture this second half and then fought their way back. But the big free throws by Dan Creekmore with 14 seconds left, 2 of them, gives West Morris the 2-point victory. And Kurt Eilbacher, no question that he was the go-to guy in that last series. Mendham bringing it down the floor. He had 19 points here, and he got a pretty clean shot on the baseline, although it was real near the line. It wasn't an easy shot.
It was a contested shot. He got himself loose to at least get the shot off, but it was contested. You have to give West Morris credit for knowing where he was and being able to jump at him. He obviously was their go-to guy. They did what they wanted to, and West Morris was able to contest the shot. It's funny. Games come down to one possession like that, but there are a lot of little things in between that shot that determine the outcome of a game like this. But it was a great game, exciting game for the fans, and a well-played game by both teams.
West Morris improves to 19-6 on the year, and Mendham is now 19 up and 4 down. And these two teams will meet again on Tuesday in the Hills Division of the Iron Hills Conference. And boy, that's got to be tough and come back and play that one.
That's got to be a tough game to play. That's to try and get both teams real interested about playing that one. They're not going to get interested until about halftime, I'm afraid.
48-46. That's the final. West Morris over Mendham. Semifinals of the Morris County Boys Basketball Tournament. And the Highlanders will play next weekend. And we'll have that broadcast on Scholastic Sports Sunday, 1 week from today at 1 o'clock. The finals of the Morris County Basketball Tournament, followed by the Men in Cup Finals here on SCA TV3. We'll be back with our second game, Parsippany Hills against Randolph, after these messages.
For me, the award for the best support in the teenager's life outside the home